Hello, everybody. In front of us here is a question on complex numbers where we are required to solve this simultaneously. Why? Because we have two unknowns. Our two unknowns are x and y. So we need to solve simultaneously for x and y in our complex number equation. But what do you know about the complex number? We know that the standard form of the complex number must always come in a form of z equals to a plus bi. So we need to know that our complex number should always be in a form of a plus bi, where a is a real part and where a is a real part, and then where bi is the imaginary part. So how do you know it's real? It's got no I. And how do you know it's imaginary? It's got no I. Imaginary. Okay, now before we can identify the real and imaginary, the equation needs to be simplified. So let's start there. We will start by writing x plus I because it's simplified. Then we simplify this side, which is 1 multiplied by 2 gives us 2. 1 multiplied by 3i gives us 3i. And then after that, negative yi by 2 gives us negative 2yi. And then negative yi times 3 gives us negative 3yi squared. Now, let's carry on. X plus I equals to 2 plus 3i minus 2yi. Then when we get to I squared, we know that in complex numbers, I squared must be changed to -1. So we change the I squared and make it a -1 and simplify further. X plus I equals 2 plus 3i minus 2yi. -1 times -3 gives us positive 3y. Now, the next thing that is left for us now is to identify all the real parts. How do we know that they are real parts? Is because they don't contain I in them. So that's number 1, number 2, and number 3. So these are the 3 yellow terms that will help us set up an equation for real parts. So x is equal to 2 plus 3y. And what does that give us? It gives us an equation of the real part. We call that equation 1. Now we need to set up the second equation for the imaginary part. Let's highlight the imaginary part. There's an I there. There's an 3i there. And lastly is your negative 2iy. And let's set up another equation now for the imaginary part. I equals 3i minus 2yi. Okay, what are we trying to solve for here? We're trying to solve for y. You can see that if we drop the i's because they are common, we'll only have y as an unknown. But let's start by transposing negative 2y to this side. It will become positive 2yi equals to 3i minus I, and 2yi equals to 2i. And then I is common, we can drop it or we can divide by 2i on both sides. 2i, we divide by 2i on both sides, then the 2 divides, and then we get the answer that y is equal to 1. Now, once you got the answer y equal to 1, you take this one and substitute it in equation 1. Where is equation 1? There is equation 1. We substitute y equals to 1 on equation 1, and then we will get that our answer will be 2 plus 3 times 1, which is equal to 5. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 5.